And let's dive into it. All right, everybody, welcome to this episode of Wapiti Wednesday Live Q&A. Here we are in the month of August, or as other people call it, September Eve. So season is coming quickly. And, you know, I was doing a lesson last night with an individual in Utah, and his season actually opens on the 20th. And so it's kind of funny that what we talked about in that lesson kind of got me thinking about what we're going to talk about tonight. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of break down exactly what's happening right now with the elk and what's going to take place over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Then we are also going to talk about attractant scents and how to use them and how to set up an area for a future hunt. So it's not necessarily right there where you're hunting, but how to set up an area for a future hunt. And then also we're going to take, you know, a couple episodes ago where we broke down the inviting cow routine. I'm going to give a little wrinkle on that and kind of clue you guys in on to how you can take that inviting cow routine and turn it into an aggressive scream fest where that bull ends up coming in with eyes bulged, nostrils flared, basically everything that we want from those bugle encounters during September. So as always, feel free to participate, chime in, give comments, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so here we go. So what's happening with the elk this time of year? So cows and calves are still in their nursery. They're still kind of at lower elevations, feeding on the tall grass. But the bulls, on the other hand, that blood supply to the velvet is starting to shut off. And their adrenaline's starting to rise a little bit. They've lived harmoniously all summer long with fellow bachelor bulls, and that is kind of starting to come to an end. So they are starting to rub the velvet off. I actually do have reports and have seen pictures and videos of a few hardhorn bulls already. So this is the time that they start shedding that velvet. If you ever wanted to collect velvet, this is the time of year to go out and get it as they're shedding it off, because there's so much nutrients in that. The squirrels, porcupines, and everything else will grab that velvet up as soon as that stuff hits the ground. So
why would we want velvet, Michael?
It's kind of because it's unique. It's not something that everybody really has. I don't have them up in here anymore. I've got a 5x5 that I shot in Montana on like October 10th, and he still has dried velvet on his antlers. He didn't rub completely clean, and it's just it's kind of cool. So so they're starting to rub. They're starting. What's that?
Sorry.
Oh, you're okay, Mark.
So I'm good. I'm listening to your good velvet story.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, so they're starting to rub that velvet off. They're starting to establish their pecking order. And so that's what's going to be taking place in the next couple of weeks. They're going to get hard horn, they're going to establish their pecking order, and they're going to start gravitating down to where the cows and calves are. So kind of that middle of August, 15th to the 20th time frame. We'll just call it 15th through the 30th. They're going to be down rounding up their cows and establishing their harems and establishing the dominance of who the herd bulls are going to be. Now, you do have some really old and really mature herd bulls that they don't even waste the time of going down to round up the cows, because what they do is they actually stay up high, continuing to feed on that high nutritious grass that's up high, and start making their way over into their rutting areas. Because what's going to happen is they're going to kind of be sitting there waiting for these younger bulls that went down and rounded up all these cows to show up in their area. And then all they have to do is kick the butt of one bull, and all of a sudden they get multiple cows. So they kind of know through experience and age on how to make the most of the energy that they have and make that energy last throughout the rut. Because some of those big herd bulls, the old guys, man, they can have 20, 30 cows, sometimes more. And they flat out get exhausted during September. So they've kind of learned, let those younger guys go down and kind of do a lot of the work for them. Now, in areas like in Utah, where the hunt starts on the 20th, they're going to be right in the middle of that herd gathering process. And so it's a little bit different starting that early, because you have a mix of bulls still establishing dominance, but bulls also gathering up cows. And so you can get some good bugle opportunities and some good aggressive bugle opportunities. The downfall is the temperature, very, very hot. So during the day activity is kind of minimalized a little bit. And that's where it's ever so important to find your cool, dark draws, because that's where those guys are going to hang out. That's kind of where they're going to stage a little bit, is in those cool, dark draws before they make that final push into their real rutting zones. And bulls will return back to the same rutting zone, rutting area year after year. And it's kind of interesting because that lead cow is what leads them there. But that herd bull is comfortable with breeding there because that's where he's done it for years. And the satellite bulls that are following him then in turn learn that breeding area. And so once they take over as herd bull, they're also breeding in that same area as well. So over the next couple of 2-3 weeks, herd gathering. So your inviting cow routine is going to be very, very effective. If anybody does have an early season, but you can also get into some bugling activity. And what's interesting is you can go out, like say on the 20th opening day there in Utah, you may not hear a lot of bugling during the day, but you go out at night when the temperatures are quite a bit cooler, especially towards the tail end of August, where the nights definitely do cool down quite a bit. You can actually hear quite a bit of activity, because that's when a lot of that pecking order gets established during those cooler temps. So because they're expending a lot of energy, they are really heating themselves up. And so they do that a lot during the cool, dark night. So it's pretty cool sometimes to go out there in the darkness and just listen to it a lot. So in fact, I have not been back up the whole month of July. Heading up this weekend again, and it's going to be mornings and evenings, getting up and glassing and watching movement and seeing who's moved into the area, who's still in the area, and see what growth has happened since I saw a lot of these guys back in June. So, okay. Any questions on elk behavior over the next couple of weeks? Okie dokie. Moving on. Attractant scents. How many of you guys use them or have used them or anything like that? Jeff has.
I've heard they're useless.
They're useless? Have you ever used them personally, Mark?
No, but that's just kind of what I've heard.
Yeah. They can be very effective if used the right way. And also it depends on how you use them. And so one of the ways I really like to use them now scents are a lot different now than what they were a few years ago. A few years ago, there used to be elk farms that actually did milk cow urine when cows were in estrus and bottle it and sell it. That can't take place anymore. Any cow urine or any elk attractant on the market now is completely 100% synthetic. So because of chronic wasting disease and everything else out there, they've changed the regulations on it. So everything does go synthetic now. Now, there's a liquid form or there's a solid form. The solid form kind of looks like a deodorant stick. A company called Hot Scents makes it. I've used that a lot. They have a herd blend, which is basically a bedding area. They have a bull blend, and then they have a cow estrus blend. And we'll talk about different ways that I've used those, and we'll talk about how I've used the liquids, and then we'll talk about how you can take both of those to create an opportunity a couple of days in the future. So I will use scents from time to time. The liquids, I used to really, really believe in them wholeheartedly. And then I got sick and tired of the bottles opening up and leaking in my pack and on my lunch. And then my whole pack smelled like elk. And then I smelled elk every day. So I went to the stick type. Jeff.
Oh, no, I was just checking something.
Oh, so
Sorry.
that's all right. The stick type is good because you don't have to worry about any leaks, but it does have limits on it on how you can use it. The spray is a little more effective because you can actually take the liquid and you can spray it on bushes and on ground and on the ground. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. If you're spraying this stuff, think about where urine is landing. So urine is not going to be landing 5-6 feet off the ground on the side of a tree. You need to use it in a realistic manner, meaning you need to put it in places. So if you think of a cow peeing, you look at beds, anything like that, that's where you want to be spraying this. Now, I will use it sometimes if I'm in an area that has a swirly wind. I will actually walk a perimeter of where I'm going to be calling from, and I'll spray 4, 5, 6 different spots around me. And I'm in the middle of all that. So that way, if the wind does swirl, that's going to cover my scent a little bit more than just my full-blown scent wafting downwind and something getting a nose full. Is it 100% effective? No, but 60% of the time it works every time. So I've had bulls come in downwind, and as soon as they caught the whiff of that estrus, they have lit up. So now on the stick types, the bull blend is basically something that you are creating a rub. And so if you're doing the breeding sequence and you're sitting there rubbing, you can take that stick and you can rub that hot sense. You can rub that on the trees that you've been rubbing, because remember, elk have that preorbital gland that right in front of their eye, they have a gland that they can open up to about that big around. And with that orbital gland, they will, when they're rubbing, they get down to the smooth tree, they will open up that orbital gland and they'll rub their face on it. And they're putting their scent on that tree. So it's almost like marking their territory. That's what that bull blend from hot scent is great for, because you're doing the breeding sequence. You're rubbing that on those trees that you're raking on, and it's just giving that appearance. And again, as that wind's kind of going, it's giving that bull blend out there. It's giving that bull scent. Okay, you've done the sounds. Now here's the smell. It's just adding realism into your setups. Now, the herd blend is basically a bedding area. I never really used that one much, just because I never wanted to create a bedding area. They already had their bedding areas established. And then the estrus blend, same thing. It's a cow and estrus. You can actually shave that off on the bark, on the tree, down at the base of the tree, to again establish that cow and estrus. So again, breeding sequence, the combo of the bull blend with that cow and estrus just gives the scent factor and realism into your setup. Okay. So any questions on that part so far? Okay. Now, how can you use these to create an opportunity in a couple of days? So let's say you're set up, you're doing a blind calling routine. You're doing the breeding sequence. Nothing comes in. You can actually take that estrus and you can spray it on the ground on a few different parts around in your area where you've been calling from. So it just gives the appearance of that cow was moving around. She was dropping a little bit of pee here and there to release those pheromones to entice the bull. Now, it may be that you did that breeding sequence and nothing came in and you moved off. But after you moved off, bulls that were in the area may come in to check out the area that you were calling from. Now, all of a sudden, they're smelling this cow and estrus. Dang it, we missed out on her. So imagine coming back into that same area in a couple of days, and now you're portraying that you, the bull, has another hot cow. What do you think the chances of those bulls that are still on the outer fringe that missed it the first time You think they're going to be kind of more adept to going, you know what, I really need to come in and check this out, because last time I missed out on an opportunity to breed that other cow. It definitely can. It can actually increase the chances of your responses and a bull coming in, or a bull responding and bugling and then giving you the opportunity to raise the aggression level with him, because now you have a bull that's competing for that hot cow with you. The hot sense, the bull blend. Imagine you're in an area. How many of you ever seen a rub line where a bull's sitting there rubbing, Jeff? And yep, quite a few heads. Okay. So imagine if you took, because remember, they're rubbing and they're opening up that orbital gland and they're putting their scent on those rubs. Imagine if you took that bull blend and started rubbing your own scent on that dude's rubs. He don't like it. Few years back, I was up on a ridge and never could get this guy. I knew he was there. I mean, every time we'd go in there, you'd see where he freshened up his rubs. And so on my way out, I took that stick and rubbed that bull blend on every place that he rubbed, every tree that he worked over. And I bugled at every single one. Basically, I was portraying the picture that there was a new dominant bull that moved into that area, and I'm taking over his territory. I skipped one day, came back in the day after. He was pretty ticked off. He actually snapped off a couple of trees that were about that big around. He raked them so hard and got so pissed. So, and yes, we did put him on the ground after about 35 minutes of working.
Woohoo.
So was he real vocal?
He was. Oh, as soon as I moved into that, and I made sure that I did the same bugle at every single tree. And as soon as I came back into that area and I did that same bugle with that same pitch, because remember, they all have voices. They recognize each other. And so he recognized me as the intruder. And yeah, I wasn't even done with that first bugle, and he cut me off about 3/4 of the way through with basically, you done screwed up. You're in the wrong place. And so, and as soon as he hit me with that bugle, I looked at my hunting partner and said, he's dead. Let's get set up. We don't need to move. We don't need to do anything. We will call him right to here. We have good shooting lanes. We have good wind. We have good control. And yeah, it took about 30 minutes to get him to leave his little haven where he was at and come over to run me off. And so it worked well.
But one quick question is, you're not really trying to mask your scent. I mean, I know you said maybe spray around a little bit, but
yeah,
it just makes me nervous. If they're going to smell that, they're going to smell me too. So
they will. And I mean, I'm not really trying to mask my scent, Mark. It's honestly, I mean, with all the scent elimination products and everything on the market, you're never going to be 100% scent free. And in fact, one of the largest bulls that I ever killed, I got so pissed off that morning that I jumped in the camp shower and I think I bathed with some strawberry shampoo or something and put Old Spice deodorant on. And man, you would have sworn that I was going to town as pretty as I was smelling, and killed the bull later that morning. So
but you played the wind, right?
Exactly. Wind is the thing. I mean, you always get the wind in your favor. You're good. But there's those exceptions to the rules. You always get that backdoor bull that always tries to come in downwind and try to get you or this or that. And so the hope is that you put enough of that cow estrus urine down or the bull blend that it's going to blend with your scent enough that maybe that's going to be the stronger. And so it's like, okay, maybe there was a person here and they moved off and I'm just catching a little remnants of them. I'm not getting full tilt human. I'm kind of getting a mix here. And this cow is actually a little bit stronger than what he is. So that's the hope. So,
okay.
Like I said, doesn't always work, but I've had several occasions where it has worked. And that backdoor bull ended up being the one that we took just because, well, he came in and presented a shot for either myself or Bryce a couple of times, was just like, yeah, I got tired of waiting for the bull to come to you. So let's go pack out mine. It's like, great. Thanks, Bryce. So So these are ways that you can basically set up future days to kind of spark a little bit more interest, spark a little bit more emotion in the elk to increase your odds of encounters and shot opportunities. So, okay. Any questions on?
What would be your suggestion working around a wallow or a water source with those?
Wallow or water source. I like to go with the trifecta. So calling, play with their auditory senses, a decoy to play with their visual senses, and then go into your wife's medicine cabinet and grab a feminine hygiene product, because those make the world's best drags. So they actually have a couple of cow estrus that is a gel. And so you find a stick, you tie a tree on it, then you tie it onto the feminine hygiene product. You soak that in that gel. Now, you don't want to walk down the trail. You want to be off the trail, but you basically just plop that in the middle of the trail and just walk straight towards the wallow. So you're basically creating a drag is what you're doing. And you want to do that if there's like a little rise to where they can get up on the rise and look down at the wallow, because it's your calling that brought them to that rise. Now they look down and they see the decoy. They take a few more steps, and then all of a sudden that drag on the trail now is in their nose. And so now you've hit all three senses. And I've seen it doing this before, where a bull comes up and he's tense. And as soon as he sees the decoy, he relaxes a little bit. And then as soon as he catches a whiff of that drag, you can see his muscles completely relax, and he just comes strolling right on in, because it's checked all the boxes. So that's.
Is that gel by Hot Scent also?
No, I'm trying to remember who had the gel. It's been a little bit since I've used it. I want to say it's Moccasin Joe or Indian Joe, something like that. So they're the company. Have you ever seen Smoke in a Bottle?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same company that makes Smoke in a Bottle. They make that also. You can just do a Google search for cow elk estrus gel, and you'll find options out there that are on that. So, and the gel is pretty potent. So the reason I haven't used it anymore is because the gel I was using was basically boiled down real cow urine. So real cow elk urine. So I haven't, honestly, since they switched the rule, I really haven't found a synthetic that I think has the right smell, but I really haven't tried a lot of the gels, just because I've gone more of the stick or the spray. So, and you can do the same thing with the spray. You can just soak the heck out of that thing. It'll absorb a lot of that liquid. I just kind of preferred the gel, because as you're going, some of that gel will flake off a little bit, grab on a stick, grab on a dirt. It doesn't evaporate as fast as what a liquid does. So, okay. All right. On to the next. You guys ready for the inviting cow routine wrinkle?
Woohoo!
Okay, so grab the reed here, because I got to do some vocalizations. So we got to appease Mr. Larry on vocalizations. So, all right. So when you start getting in the cow routine, we all know that the cow routine is basically it's you're imitating a lost cow. Every vocalization that you're doing is asking for some sort of action. It's asking for a response, or it's asking to come here. Now, what happens a lot of times on this is when you have a bull in the area, especially early in the season, and you are in that routine a little bit, and then finally he responds. Anybody remember what that bugle is? Roundup bugle. That is a roundup bugle that a bull will do to his cows or surrounding cows that are saying, come to me, regather, come over here. So basically what that bull is doing is he's acknowledging that he heard you. And he's saying, come here. I'll keep you company. I'll let you in my group. Come on over here. Now you just stay right where you're at. Keep doing the inviting cow routine.
Can you do that again? It didn't come through very well for me.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it cut out.
Did it? Okay. Let me get away from the microphone a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not coming through real time.
It's not coming through real.
No, it sounds like you're barking. Like
I am barking at first. Let me do
I know,
this.
but it's just not coming through.
Yeah.
You might try a different read. It could be the mic's not.
I'm turning the output level down a little bit. Okay. That help at all?
Very
Yeah.
slightly.
Very slightly. Okay.
I thought it sounded good.
All right.
To me, it just sounded like,
All you heard was the chuckles at the end.
yeah, pretty like a little bit of a chuckle sound at the beginning, and then kind of low end and chuckles at the end.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, that was same for mine. I'm wondering if it's just not coming through our phone speakers.
Could be. Well, come on. This is supposed to. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's about as soft as it can be.
Yeah, what's weird is usually this thing. Okay. Yeah, for some reason this tonight, auto, here we go, suppress. All right, let's see if this will do it. Did that change my audio at all?
No,
Some of you shaking yes, some no.
to me, it sounds exactly the same, but there we go.
Yeah, that
That's
sounded
better.
good.
Okay.
Okay, I recognize that.
Okay. So that could be why I said, does anybody know what this sound was? You
Yeah, that's another
know,
new.
we didn't hear it. So,
No,
okay.
The other one was like,
Yeah.
like what?
Okay. So y'all heard the roundup bugle that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do
Okay.
that one more time.
Okay. So let me do this real quick. So he's going to respond with that roundup bugle. You're going to stay and do your inviting cow routine. You're going to stay where you're at. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to hit you with a roundup bugle again, but he's going to have a little bit more aggression to it. Did that one distort?
No, perfect.
Okay.
Good.
So notice a little sharper bark, a little higher on the pitch. He's getting a little more demanding. So here's where the wrinkle comes in. Now that you have at that point that he's elevated his demandingness on it, you're going to pick up a stick and you're going to start raking. Because you're going to give the appearance that while he stayed over there just saying, hey, come to me, come to me, come to me, another bull that never made a sound just slipped in on this cow. He will probably respond again with that roundup bugle with even more intensity, more demandingness for that cow to get over to him. And then that's where you're going to hit him. With some huffs, grunts, and whines. Because basically what you're saying now is too bad, so sad, dude. You stayed over there. I sprung into action. I got her. She's now with me. This is where You're going to know exactly what's going to happen here, because the next response that he's probably going to give you is a lip ball. Because now basically he's telling you, move off, I'm a dominant bull. And now he's really demanding that cow, come to me, I'm a dominant bull. So you're going to hit him right back with that same lip ball. Because now he's gone from frustration to aggression. Because one, it was frustration that cow wasn't coming to him, and now it's aggression because there's another bull that's moved into his area that slipped in quietly on this cow that he was asking to come over, and that bull kind of taunted him a little bit with those huffs, grunts, and whines. And it may be that you have to, hit him with a couple of huffs, grunts, and whines before he gets to that lip ball. But once he gets to that lip ball, it's on. You hit him with the lip ball back, and then that lip ball is pretty soon going to escalate into a challenge. And then at that point, that's when all gloves are off. You've basically punched enough of his buttons that you've raised his aggression level that now you can be max aggressive with him. And remember, with that challenge bugle, you want to be ready, because when he starts challenging, you want to go over the top with your own challenge. Because remember, you want to be on offense, not defense. And so what I'll do a lot of times, if I'm not ready when he hits me with that first challenge, I'll wait a little bit, and then you can kind of coax him into doing it a little bit more, because you can mix in a cow. What that cow is basically saying is, I don't want this bull that's over here with me. He's pestering me. And especially if that bull you're calling to is a dominant bull, because dominant bulls don't like younger bulls messing with cows, because younger bulls don't know how to treat cows. They pester them all the time. They try to hook them. They really try to really control them. And older bulls don't do that. And so that's what's going to tip him off to where he's really going to get aggressive. And that's when I have the reed in my mouth, I have the tube ready, and as soon as I hear his bugle start, I am right over the top of him with the most aggressive challenge bugle that I can. And then what's going to happen is he is going to end up uncorking a bugle that you're going to feel to the core of your soul. And you're immediately going to hear that, and you're just going to know he's coming. Now, the key thing on this, he's not coming in cautious. He's not coming in to check things out. He's coming in with one sole purpose, and that's to run that bull off. And he is going to go exactly hard charge right to the last spot that he heard that bull make a noise from. So if you're solo and you hear that bugle and all of a sudden you know he's coming, that's when you move downwind and up a little bit and be ready. The challenge on this one, though, is when he's coming in, it is a pain in the butt to get him to stop, because he is so focused on coming in and kicking butt that you will be on your reed just, just trying to get him to stop. You actually have to, bark at him to get him to stop in your shooting lane. But it is one of the most intense situations. And this is something that early in the season, you can take from a little old inviting cow routine. And especially if you've got a bull that's just sitting over there that's hitting you with that roundup bugle, come here, come here, come here. You can then incorporate this wrinkle to elevate that, because remember, first part of the season, they're still in that cow gathering. They're still in that competing, especially if you're in an area that has a very, very high bull to cow ratio. Man, this thing works awesome. So what you guys think about that little wrinkle?
That's a big wrinkle,
Yeah.
Nice.
but I love it. I'm into it.
So now here's the cool thing about this. If you're doing the solo routine, or if you're doing the silent routine, the inviting cow, and there's two of you, set it up to where whoever is the shooter is is going to act like a bull on the outskirts that's just doing the roundup bugle. And then you can kind of create this routine scenario, which then can get other bulls that are within earshot of you to start piping off too. So you can actually create that excitement. You can take a silent day, a quiet day with not much bugling, and you can create that excitement out there by yourself. Well, with a partner. So, okay. Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas?
Oh, I have a comment about using the scents.
Yep.
I always like I have the stick. I've used a stick before, but I got to put it in like 2 or 3 Ziploc bags and you leave it outside, it gets hot during the day. Of course, it's in your bag. It can melt, but I never can put it in my trailer because, man, the trailer smells like elk.
Yeah.
And the other problem is when I take it and put it on the tree or something, you get a little bit on your hands. Like you said, you're smelling elk all day.
Yep.
That's the only problem I have with using the scents. You got to be careful with them.
They're a lot of fun too, that your hunting partner, if he did something to piss you off during the day, middle of the night, swap out his deodorant for one of those.
That is funny. I've actually taken it to work and put it on my shoes and had people go, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. I'm not saying that I've done that more than once. So, but yeah, we were 8 miles back in on a bivvy hunt, and yeah, I did that one in the middle of the night. So he didn't talk to me for 2 days, which was bliss. So it was awesome. So, but I mean, he's still hunting with me to this day. So I must not have upset him too bad. So.
Got enough of a sense of humor.
You have to out there. And that's one thing that I'm really blessed about the guys that I hunt with is we do keep it light. We do keep it fun. It's not, we know there's a time to be serious, but there's also a time to have fun and enjoy the camaraderie out there and enjoy, everything out there. So you have to, there's always, so. Now in my defense, he did put a rock in my pack when we broke for lunch that day. So he had it coming. So
How big of a rock?
it was probably a good solid 5-6 pound rock. So, I mean,
Yeah, that earned it.
yeah, he did. And I didn't really notice the extra weight until later in the day. So one, bad on me for not checking my pack because I left it there alone with him. So I do that whenever I leave my pack in his vicinity. That's the first thing I do is check that pack. So yeah. So without good hunting partners, what are you going to do? So, all right. Any other questions?
Give me the inviting cow routine one more time.
So, okay. Remember, the inviting cow routine is made up of inviting sounds, the assembly mew, the demanding mew, remember the demanding mew is that exclamation point that you can put it at the end of a string of other sounds to add that exclamation point, add a little more emotion. So you also have the regathering mew. So you have that wave in the high note that you're using the pressure on your diaphragm to control that wave. And then last, the buzz mew. So, and you use those. Oh, one more. Lost excited. So every one of those are either saying, where are you, answer me, or come to me. So that's why it's an inviting routine. And it's one of those things that you can mix them together. You can string together what you want. You can string together 3-4 assembly mews followed by a demanding mew. You can string 3, 4, 5 of the lost mews. You can do that demanding mew by itself as you're moving, but it's basically you start with solos, and then as you ramp up, you start stringing some of those same sounds together. So
Are you walking around a bit when you're doing that one too?
you are, and you're also casting the sound in different
Yeah.
directions because you're
Yeah.
searching, you're looking. You know, you're a lone cow. You're looking. Where is everybody? Hey, come to me or answer me. Let me know where you're at. So you want to move around. You want to broadcast that in different directions because you want to give that appearance of a cow that is searching.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay, what else, guys?
Great meeting. Thanks a lot.
All right. Well, then we will wrap it up for this one. So, and in 2 weeks, we're going to kind of start off again where we're going to talk about elk behavior because we're coming up right on season. So we're going to talk about what's going to be happening for the next couple of weeks from that one. But as always, gentlemen, keep calling, keep practicing. More importantly, though, have fun. And we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.
Have a
Thanks
great
a
one,
lot.
everybody.